So this one does not have a center stand, and you can see I removed all the stickers, including the weird Honda sticker that he put on. So the previous owner, this is me by the way, the strap for carrying the bike on the trailer. So you can see I removed all the stickers. I think there's still 1 or 2 left, but in all the stickers that he had here, this is like all the residue. He removed a lot of the stuff. I really don't like that. I kind of wish he left the stock, but I can't complain too much. So, you know, just looking around, I do like even the brake lights of this bike. I was thinking, oh, man, should I sell it? Because I could probably like turn a profit, but it is such a cool bike. You know, the first one that I had was the same, except it was a manual. This one is a little bit special because it's the ABS/DCT version. It's a little bit heavier. This part you can see like sticks out a little bit more. That's the DCT version. I don't know how reliable they are. I kind of like the idea of the manual stuff, but I like the automatic thing too. So just kind of looking around, I am going to pull off the Bluetooth speaker that he put on. I don't see too much of a point of having it. And the neon lights, I think I'm going to pull those off. And another thing I'm going to be pulling off and putting on my Super Tenere is this. This is a throttle lock, so you just kind of do that. It's better than the one I have now, so that's what I'm going to do. And of course, good grab rails. The benefit of this over the Super Tenere is the trunk space, and also the battery is very easy to access, and I believe the air filter is right underneath here too, so you don't have to do anything. That's the beauty of this bike. It's so easily used for regular maintenance. Even the valves are easy to adjust. So that's something that I never even like thought of when I was look at this. He even painted the tires with the autism thing. So I hate that, but at least I got most of it out. And you know, these tires are, if you ride, you'll get rid of those tires very quickly. So let me go ahead and start it. Starts right up. This is the DCT version, so all you have to do is like push D and you're going. So let it warm up a little bit and we're gonna go for a spin. If you're wondering how to ride this bike, if it's in neutral, it's not engaged. So what you do is you just push the D here and we're ready to go. Well, it is actually kind of, it's so easy to ride, and the seating position is really good on it. So it's a fairly big bike, and in a time when gas has gone up to $3.40 here, this thing gets 65 miles to the gallon out of a 700. That's like scooter-like mileage. If I give it a lot of gas, it actually downshifts to third from fifth. See, fourth gear. It doesn't like pop a wheelie, but so here's the thing that you're probably not going to hear too much about. When you put your feet down on the ground on this bike, because of the width of the DCT transmission, whatever, your leg kind of rubs up against it. But on the standard version, because it's narrower, it doesn't touch it. So that's a little bit of an annoyance. Not much, but I mean, for me, I usually pay attention to these things. Alright, we're still in sport mode, or we're still in drive mode. You can see there's like some twisties coming up. I want to see how she goes around. There is like a weird delay. In a way, I kind of feel like I would want it to stay in a specific gear, but I don't know if I would be faster with a standard one or this. I mean, this is actually really fast, selecting your own gear, and I'm not even in sport mode. That's incredible. And see, it puts me in fourth gear, so it does put me in the optimal gear. Oh, please don't turn left. Please don't turn left. Please don't turn. Oh, so good. Okay, perfect. Of course, another bad thing about this is that it has got a very short, very small gas tank. So even though it gets 65 miles to the gallon, you're going to be filling this thing up often because it is a very limited range. And they could have easily put a gas tank that was a little bit bigger, put something a little bit bigger, and increase the range to like 300. I mean, that's what adventure riders want. You know, it's not the idea is the adventuring. That's what sells the bikes, but very few people on GSs actually go on adventures. It's most of the time they're Starbucks bikes. It's the same thing with this. Like, I kind of feel it missed its mark. It's got a cool engine, very fuel efficient engine. It's one of these engines that a home mechanic can still work on it. So when you can work on a bike like this, I mean, everything about this bike is for a home mechanic. And you push it here, and now I'm in sport mode, and automatically it went down to 4, from 6 to 4. You have to be careful because all the leaves. There we go. 3rd gear. So the difference between D and S is that it's really 1 gear lower. It keeps it really down low. Even like riding with a manual, I never really go to 3rd gear in these corners. It is pretty quick. I think this bike will surprise a lot of people. Alright, 4th gear, going into a corner, give it gas. Third gear, so it automatically just pushes it down 1 gear. I think yesterday we had our first frost that came outside. The car and everything had a pile of ice on it. I had some water in the back of the pickup truck and it was like frozen. This bike actually turns really quickly. Alright, I'm on drive mode. Drive mode basically gets me much better gas mileage. And for commuting, you're going to be on drive mode. Oh, there's a cop over there. You know, I've ridden the Super 10-rate to work. It's not a good commuter. You know, unless your commute is highway or big roads. The Super 10-rate is a great bike, but it is not a commuter. In drive mode, this thing handles extremely well. I mean, it's fast. Oh yeah, this bike has so much more power than I need, especially in these little corners. I'm gonna do like a, look at this. This is top speed, full throttle. Alright, let go. I don't want to go too fast here, but there's it doesn't give you like that kick in the pants sort of power. I think a inexperienced rider could probably ride this faster on a manual transmission bike. The suspension, it's definitely not very confidence inspiring. You can see my handlebars kind of like just flying all over the place. It almost feels like it's got power to do wheelies, but not really. So this is a little bit of a tricky corner. Oh, see, it downshifted quite a bit for me. Wow. I kind of want to ride with a bunch of people just so I can compare speed. I mean, it is quick. I am going pretty darn quick for... I was not expecting it to be this fast, especially in automatic. It turns really quick. Okay, full blast, full throttle. Pretty good. Yeah, this bike does surprise. I think it will surprise a lot of motorcyclists. It's that good. It's that quick. And it handles really good for such a small bike. I mean, look at it. It is sprightly, very nimble. is an incredibly quick bike, but you do feel it. Like, it does feel like the actual mile. 60 does feel like 60. Let's try out the fully manual version. So you see this button, you push it and the D disappears. That means that we are in fully manual mode. And to change the gears, you have shifters here. So let's go ahead and try this. I'm not used to it because it feels very weird to shift using your hands as paddles, for me anyway. So right now, there we go. You just go, I'm in 5th. Now I'm in 6th. I think it does downshift for you. Let me see if I slow down. If it feels like I'm lugging it, I think it will. Yeah, I wonder if yeah, see, it downshifted because it realized that I'm lugging it. So there we go. You know, my way of riding is I prefer to be high up, because if I'm just commuting, I don't want to be like over revving. I knew a guy that used to like commute, and he would like go through town, DC, into the Hirshhorn Museum where he worked, and he would be in 2nd gear, like revving like crazy. And he kind of told me, I'm gonna go through here. You see this right here? Downshift to 1st. There we go. 2nd, 3rd. There we go. 3rd gear. I want to just get the best gas mileage ever. And I think this bike would have made a whole lot more sense when I was commuting through DC. But I don't know, like, it takes a while for you to kind of learn how to use the paddle shifters. The automatic version is a whole lot more intuitive. You know, I kind of wonder why they don't put the paddle shifters like on your foot. You know, because motorcycles are used to the foot shifting. But I guess it's just a different style. Yeah, you could shift really high if you want. So 5th gear, 6th gear, and we're moving. Yeah, see, I'm not used to it. And like, sport mode does feel a whole lot more interesting to ride to it. So 4th gear, this would be what the sport mode would be. It would be in 4th gear. I think a lot of times too, I will stay in a low gear, especially like the Tail of the Dragon. It's like you don't need to get out of the 4th gear on a Super Tenere to ride that thing, but that kind of makes you lazy. If you really like the revving, as you have the parking brake right over here, to release it you have to kind of push this and out. I guess it is kind of like a scooter, but I don't see too much point of it yet. It's freezing out, and this bike is not as good as the Super Tenere by far when it comes to wind protection. I know you don't get this because you want to get the wind protection, but man, when the temperature dips, you will be so glad to be riding the Super Tenere as opposed to this. But I do enjoy it. One thing I do find fascinating is that I don't like the manual shifting in this bike, like using the Tiptronic sort of thumb and index finger style shifting. I do like to use the automatic feature. If I'm feeling a little bit sportier, I can just go ahead and do that. And you can still downshift using the Tiptronic if you need to. But when you turn off the automatic, it just it kind of complicates things. I don't think that's as good, and I find it very odd. It's like, why even do that? But it's nice that it's there, but at the same time, I do appreciate the bike for what it is, having a automatic transmission. Now there are some downsides. First is the bulk. This cover, it's by the way plastic, but when I put my foot down, I feel that this touches it, and it is much bigger. It feels bigger than the manual version. It also feels heavier, because this one's got ABS, so the ABS motor is somewhere, I don't know exactly where, but yeah, this cover is quite large, but you can see the engine is just like, it's slanted so far forward. It's kind of like a scooter engine, and it's interesting. It's a very interesting engine. It is quick too. I think before I gave it a hard time because I really didn't try to ride it in a sporty mode, but this one, the Super 10 Ray, is kind of like a beast coming through. It's got a lot of weight. You feel that weight, but also you have that power to compensate. On this one, it is much more subtle. Twisting the wrist on this, even in sport mode, it takes a little bit of momentum to kind of start moving up to 60 miles an hour. On that one, it just kind of feels like you are going to be spinning your rear tire if you give it a full throttle of gas. This bike is getting over 60 miles to the gallon, and gas in the DC area is at 3.5, so I am glad to have this right now. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Kind of stuck here. The cops won't bother me.